So my name is Mike Vowels. I am 65 years old. I am a resident of Haley, Idaho. Moved here from Seattle, Washington about 3 years ago. Recently, on July 23rd of this year, 2020, I had a bad experience with the Ketchum Police Department. I was pulled over at about 10:30 at night, going about 10 miles an hour over the speed limit, and I ended up getting introduced to a police officer named Todd. And so my experience that night with this particular cop became my nightmare, and I ended up getting injured as a result of this. I'm a wheelchair user, so my situation's kind of unique. I got handcuffed. I had he and his partner attempt to stuff me into the back of a police car, which did not work out at all. But I got manhandled by these guys, and that was a contributing factor to my getting hurt. So my objective is I'm going to do a video about my experience. I want to spotlight this guy. I want to spotlight the City of Ketchum Police Department. I feel it's my civic duty to do so because we got a bad cop in town. So when I got pulled over, I was south of Ketchum, and it was just before the bridge over the Bigwood River, just short of getting to St. Luke's Hospital. Speed limit, I think, was 35, and I was going 45, because it goes from 45, 35, 25, it goes in increments. But I was going 10 miles an hour over the speed limit, so when I get pulled over and the cop tells me that, I had a passenger in my car, and I was chatting. I was chit-chatting, and so, I was speeding. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna get a speeding ticket. Oh well, that happens. I can't say I wasn't speeding. I was. And then as this guy's going back to his car, and he's checking my registration, my license, and he's doing his normal protocol. When the guy comes back, this thing just starts turning into something entirely different, and things started going sideways, and things started escalating. And it turned, all of a sudden I found myself in the wild, wild west. So, the situation was we're pulled over, we're just short of the bridge, and the officer is wanting to have me get out of the car. And I had to explain to him that I can't get out of my van. It's a wheelchair accessible van, and my ramp goes out to the right-hand side, which was taking us into guardrail. And so I've got a door on the other side of my van, and it doesn't have a ramp. So this guy's looking for me to get out of the car. And I said, well, we can't do that. And he said, well, what if we help you and so forth? And I just said, no, we're not going to do that. That's unsafe. And he was also looking to take me out into traffic out of my van in my wheelchair. So I said, no, we can't do that. And so then and he seemed like that was very inconvenient to him. It's like, he started developing an attitude right then and there that I was inconveniencing him. And so as a result of that, we ended up, my passenger and I, we ended up taking my van over to the St. Luke's parking lot, which was a short distance away, so that way I can get out of my van and use my ramp. So then we got to the parking lot there. As I start, having a dialogue exchange with this police officer, and now I'm out of my van, we are not on the same page. This guy and I, we're not quite on the same page, and this guy, he was pretty brazen, and I just have to say, my view of this guy is I was dealing with a punk cop, and one that was packing a whole lot of attitude, and so we weren't gelling. I'll say we were not gelling, and this guy, I was rubbing him the wrong way. He was rubbing me the wrong way, and it ultimately resulted in him throwing handcuffs on me. And that was, I think that was just a big power move. I'm in a wheelchair. I don't need handcuffs. I don't think I need handcuffs. But I think it was just a big power move, and then it came to a point where this guy's, and he's telling me repeatedly, because we had an extended period of time together where this thing went on and on and on. And he's telling me, you're going to jail. You're going to jail. We're taking you to jail. I mean, he must have said that to me and other people, 10 times.
So what we're going to have to do...
This is an audio recording. Complies with the advisory requirements.
Sir, at this time, I'm taking you to jail for obstruction.
That other guy.
So what's going to happen now is I'm putting you in the back of the vehicle and you're going to jail for obstruction, okay? You understand something? So regardless tonight, you're going to jail, okay?
No,
and we'll take you to jail after. Right, but I mean, he's going to jail. It's one of us rides down there and he goes to the jail, or transport him, to the jail. I'll take him to...
So, the path to going to jail was going to be them putting me in their police car. And so they, were asking me to give them some, instructions. How do we want to do this? And actually, how do we want to do this? And I'm just saying, look, you guys are on your own. I'm not going to help you get into your police car. That's not something I'm doing. And and I also wanted to avoid me being part of any liability, because if I'm giving these guys instructions on how to get me into the police car, which I knew was not going to work, it was like putting a square peg in a round hole. I was not going in that car, even if I was trying to help them, but I was going to give them no assistance, because then I was going to be buying into the liability myself if something went wrong. And so these guys, they've never even done something like this. They've got no training. They're completely, these guys are completely winging it on getting me in their car. And I told them, I told these guys, I said, heads up, you guys, if something goes wrong, I'm letting these guys know we got a problem here. And if I get hurt, it's going to be on you. And so these guys try and muscle me into the car, and it doesn't work. And so, I'm like a rag doll. I'm in handcuffs. And I'm like a rag doll in handcuffs with these guys trying to do this. They're huffing and puffing, and they finally realize they'd better put me back in my chair. So they did. And when they put me back in my chair, my left buttocks, my left butt cheek, struck one of my side guards on my wheelchair, and I don't feel that. I don't have sensation, so I don't know that happens, but I know it from watching their video cam footage, their body cam footage. So, because they were sloppily trying to get me in the chair, because they had no idea what they're doing, and I'm the guy in handcuffs, and I weigh like 200 pounds. These guys had no business trying to, these guys needed some more gym time to be doing what they were doing. So they throw me back in my chair, and so now I'm in my chair, I'm in handcuffs, and I'm not positioned in my chair the way that I need to be. I'm kind of slumped into my chair. My rear end isn't pulled back into the back of the chair where it needs to be. And when my rear end sits in the back of my chair, I'm on gel. So I'm on gel that forms to my rear end. So these guys have left me now kind of slumped forward. So now I'm on a part of my wheelchair that does not have that gel, but it's just kind of a hard foam underneath me. So that's going to be contributing to my getting a pressure sore, because they left me in that position for, better than an hour and a half, something like that. And a pressure sore occurs as a result of your skin in that area is not getting any oxygen, where your skeleton is pressing down on a spot. And I didn't get to do my normal thing where I'm moving around, doing what's called pressure releases, where I can make sure I don't have something like that occur. So they kind of created this perfect storm for me, where I've got damage occurring to my body, and I don't even know that's happening while I'm in that position. I don't know that. And so, I'm warning these guys, there's an issue of me getting hurt. And this police officer, Todd, Walter Todd, was just being arrogant and dismissive of everything that I was telling him about the potential for me getting injured by the way they were handling me, treating me, and the time that was passing by and so forth.
You want to stop right there for me? All right, sir. So we're gonna put you in this vehicle, okay? That means we're probably have to pick you up or something like that, I presume.
You're gonna find out.
Okay. Sir, at this point, if you fail to comply with my obstructions, I'm gonna take you to jail for obstruction, okay? Okay.
No.
So I'm letting your hands be free for right now because I think we're gonna need them to help you get in there, okay? Once we get in there.
I'm not helping you guys get me in your car.
Okay.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay, but just know that you're on your own. You guys got this thing figured out. You know,
Okay.
you're all good.
So here's the deal, sir. I was hoping you could help us with your hands, try to grab the top and do some leverage.
No.
Okay. So we're gonna put your hands out for me?
Okay.
I know, ma'am, but he said he was not going to help us at all, so I can't let his hands be free. All right.
Game on, boys.
Hey, sir, I'm going to pick your legs up,
Are you?
and I'm going to have him on the backside of you.
Okay.
Okay? And then
Sounds
we're
like you guys got a
gonna
plan.
move Can you push him forward a little bit there, Glenn?
And just a reminder, something goes wrong. Oh boy.
All right.
Okay, film.
Walk that way.
Okay.
Lift him up.
You want to put the body in first?
Yeah, you lift him up. There we go. Keep lifting. Back up, put him in his chair. Back
It'd
up,
be easy to put legs in
put him in his
first.
chair. Yeah, put him in his chair. Hold this.
That's what I said, but he wouldn't do it.
Call maybe. Have an ambulance come.
Good idea.
Lift him up. Keep lifting him up. Get him back. There you go. Now,
Is that
do you wanna
working?
do? Listen, you're going to jail either way.
No.
You're going to jail either way.
That's good. That's good.
We're trying to help you.
Heads up, guys. Something goes wrong. If I get hurt, I'm just saying, heads up, rookies. Heads up, rookies. Okay?
Okay. So here's where.
And so he and I were, clashing at that level. And, and as far as my demeanor with him, how we interfaced, I was pretty much, I think I was lecturing the guy more than anything, lecturing this guy about how he was handling things, how he was treating me.
So the other option is, sir, I'm not sure how it works out on your end with health insurance and all that, but we can take you to the hospital right over there. They can transport you over there.
This one's on your nickel.
Hey.
That's good. I appreciate
Okay.
you saying that. But this is on your nickel.
Sir, so listen to me, okay? This interruption's not getting us anywhere,
Is
okay?
that a stand-up comedy thing?
This interruption's not getting us
Sir,
anywhere, okay?
No interruption, but you just said my insurance.
So I don't know how this works out with the billing is my point to you, okay?
Okay, that's good. That's good. Just don't mention my insurance because it's going to be on your nickel.
Okay, so,
No.
okay, sir. So here's where I'm with the hospital thing, okay? If you have a specific complaint that you are in dire straits, you think something's going on with your heart, you're having difficulty breathing or something like that, we can get you checked out. If your complaint is just there could possibly be something wrong with me, that's not
Okay.
good enough for me, okay?
I'm going to override the man because I've been in this situation for over 30 years.
Okay.
And I know.
Because anybody can just say, there's something wrong with me. And we
Anybody
didn't
could do
handle you
that.
at all, okay?
Anybody could do that. I'm different because I have a history of having things that sneak up on me where I go, I didn't see that one coming. Where I could have a sore showing up. So anyway, we don't get to play. Anybody could do that. I'm the guy that gets to do that because I'm the guy that's different than your normal arrest and the stuff you do. So we're going to go back to just in case, playing it safe. Can you say that to me? Just in case, playing it safe. It's like today, going up on Baldy, they had a thing that said, simple ask, wear a mask. So just in case, play it safe. You got that? I think you do.
All right.
Now we're going to continue with this. There's anybody could say that. You don't get to say that to me. You tried. But now, that's over.
And so as long as you guys tell us he's medically cleared, everything's fine, we're good.
You know, and then eventually they, you know, because these guys, they were making things up as we went. They had never, you know, seemingly dealt with somebody like myself in a wheelchair. They were completely out of their element. I didn't fit their normal schedule, their normal format of the process that they go through, and it was, you know, they eventually brought a paramedic truck there. So they bring a paramedic truck there, you know, and I'm just thinking, okay, so they keep telling me I'm going to jail. So the paramedics get there, and I'm thinking, okay, they're going to, you know, put me in a gurney, do something so they can somehow get me into that ambulance and then take me to jail. And so then the paramedics get there, and so this cop is attempting to get the paramedics to sign off on me as being fine, me being, you know, getting checked out by them, and to say he's fine, there's no way we could have hurt him. Well, the paramedics are medical professionals. And as I'm kind of walking them through, I might be fine, I might be hurt, I don't know that. The cop's trying to argue that I'm just like playing some kind of game with him, and these guys are kind of going, heads up, we can't sign off on this. He's telling us he doesn't know if something has happened. And but he was really trying hard to get these paramedics to sign up and to sign me off as healthy. Mike's just fine, and these guys are going, we can't do that because of what he's saying to me. So the paramedics, they don't, you know, I don't go in their, you know, their aid car, and I don't go to jail, but instead, you know, because again, this thing is ever changing as we're going. So so now they suggest that I get checked out by the hospital, because we're right there at we're in the St. Luke's parking lot.
What I'm going to do is I'm just going to have them bring a med unit. And can you send an ambulance to my 20? I'll be in the hospital parking lot with my in custody, the mail that I ran from earlier.
Hi, Cody. I'm Tori.
Hello, Tori.
This is Ed.
I'm Ed. Hello, Ed.
And you're not feeling any chest pain or anything? You don't feel ill at all?
I'm feeling okay. You know, if something happens to be down below, that's something I'm not aware of. Could happen days later, but these guys are my boys. They're in charge, and they're going to tell you what you need to do.
Okay.
And otherwise, I'm available to you.
Okay, well, and if you at any point think you want to get checked out of the hospital, we'd be happy to take you there.
That'd probably be a good idea, just to make sure, because these guys have been, you know, handling me. So
okay.
We're following you.
So basically, we're going to follow the
man.
standard medical protocol that we would if he was on a regular call. You guys come, check him out, say he's okay. If you think that there's something seriously wrong with you, then we can have you checked out at the hospital.
And I don't know. So
are you experiencing any of the symptoms that would be normal?
We better just find out.
You need to use our services. You can't just say, oh, you're good, even though you're telling us. Well, if he's saying he needs to be checked out, happened before this?
Nothing really happened before this, so we let him put himself in his wheelchair. He rolled out. I mean, he's just being facetious. Okay.
Do you still want to get checked out at the hospital?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Do you think if we wheel you in the wheelchair, right over there?
Ask Officer Todd. He's the man.
Well,
Officer Todd, what's the status?
That works for me if it works for you, okay?
What are we doing?
They're trying to make this most convenient and as possible.
I heard that earlier.
So
okay.
if you don't have a problem with you being wheeled over there, we can wheel you over there, okay?
Let's make that happen.
Okay.
Yeah, I would think it would.
Okay.
Do you have a place where you can set your feet?
Ask Officer Todd. He's the man. Come on, Officer Todd. Who's the man?
Your lack of cooperation's not helping, okay?
No, who's the man?
So, do you have any way they can put your feet on something?
The man?
By Michael or Cody?
Come on, you had this figured out earlier.
I'm sorry, do you go by Michael or Cody?
I go by, who's Cody?
I don't know, I thought you said...
No, I'm Mike, but I don't know where Cody came from.
Okay, that's all right, I thought I heard it. So Mike, we'd like to take you over there. I'm going to put your feet on your...
It's all up to Officer Todd.
Yep, he's going to let us run this part. You feel any pain when I do that?
Seem to be okay.
Okay, cool. Ed, maybe if you want to go near side.
Yeah. Brakes off and everything? No brakes. No brakes on this. No brakes? Yes.
All right. Call us en route.
Okay.
All right.
Where's Officer Todd?
You're clear now. All right. How fast do you want to go?
As fast as you want to go.
So, we decide we're going to do that. And so we go into the hospital. And the whole time I'm in handcuffs. And so we go into the hospital. These guys check me out. And the doctor doesn't understand. The doctor of record doesn't get it because I'm saying, I can't feel anything from below my injury at sternum level down. And so maybe I'm fine, maybe nothing's happened, but I don't know. And this guy, this is, it's kind of above his pay grade because he doesn't get that. He's just checking me out like, do I have a cut? Do I have a wound? He's just kind of just doing the glossing things over and just going, well, I don't see anything wrong. And I'm not telling the doctor that something's wrong, but I'm saying precautionary, and so sure enough, as a result of all of this, I don't go to jail. I don't know what that was all about. I think it was all about trying to intimidate me. So I didn't go to jail. And so I was released that night. And so sure enough, it's like a day and a half later, I'm seeing a spotty blood on my bed. I got a pressure sore. And, and I'm vulnerable to that being a paraplegic. And so I got a pressure sore and, and so I immediately, got a hold of the wound care center at St. Luke's Hospital. That's who has to take care of this kind of thing. And they couldn't take me, I couldn't get an appointment very quickly, but I knew what I needed to do, which is bed rest, and get off my rear end. So I did a good week of bed rest before I got to go into the wound care center. And so the good thing is I jumped on this real quick because I know how dangerous these things can be. And so we got it quick enough that I was going in there and seeing them for about 3 visits, and they use real specialized bandaging and so forth. But I didn't have, this thing wasn't a runaway train yet, but if it becomes a runaway train, this stuff can be life-threatening. So we got it under control, but I did like a solid month of bed rest. And when I say, it's not like I'm in bed 24 hours a day, but a lot of bed rest for 4 weeks. As well as my visits to the wound care center at St. Luke's Hospital. So we got it under control, and I'm okay going forward. But all of this was the cause of Walter Todd not listening to me, handcuffing me, and just he was a cowboy cop. This guy was a cowboy cop. So once again, I want to tell everybody what happened to me. Because the city of Ketchum has a bad cop. His name's Walter Todd, and my job is to make that known. I moved here from Seattle. I live here. I don't want to have a bad cop in town. I'm gonna be running across this guy again. So I want to tell my story about what happened. So I want to explain something about skin tissue, me being vulnerable to a skin tissue breakdown. I just am, as it goes along with being a paraplegic. And so when these cops took me out of my wheelchair and attempted to put me in the cop car, well, then when they returned me to my wheelchair, they had no idea what they were doing. I'm handcuffed. I can't control anything. So, like right now, I want to talk about position in my chair. Right now, my rear end is sucked back into the chair. But the way these guys put me back in my chair, and I'm going to make an adjustment here to show you something here. So if I take my rear end and take it to the front here, so now my rear end's further forward. So I'm in this kind of a slouched position, and my rear end has gone forward. So as a result of that, my rear end is no longer in the back of the chair where I have gel seating, but my rear end is more toward the front where it becomes a firmer rigid foam environment type stuff. So I'm going to show you where my rear end needs to be in this chair, and I'm going to scoot it back. And it isn't much, but again, I'm going to show you here. I don't want to be out here laying back this way. I want my rear end sucked to the back of that chair, so it's pulled in. I'm hitting the back of that chair, and that puts me into my gel seat. So that was, something that contributed to my skin starting to break down and get a pressure sore because how those guys put me in the chair. And my situation is I'm handcuffed, so I don't get to grab my wheels and make that adjustment and get myself seated properly. So there I was, and for just seemed like an hour and a half that I was in this situation, positioned wrong in my chair, and it's because of how they put me there without them knowing what they were doing, and I was in handcuffs, so I couldn't make any kind of adjustments and do what I normally do. So another part of my experience with Officer Todd is, he was doing what I call salting. He was salting his body cam footage by saying certain things over and over and over repetitively. So he's salting his body cam footage for his own benefit. So one of the things that he must have said 5, 6, 7 times on film is that I went after his taser. So he's saying I went after his taser so he could kind of make his body cam footage way more sexy, let's say. And but my reality to my ability to be in my situation in handcuffs, I don't have the ability to grab his taser. But he says that one over and over and over because it builds his case within his body cam footage there. Because my situation is, as a paraplegic, I've got a real high level of injury, which is up at about sternum level. I don't have core. So my situation is, I've got this very small little world I live in where I can't get very far out of that space. Like if I try and, start moving over this direction, as soon as I get that far, I got to stop. I got to grab my other wheel. So that's all I got, and that's my reality. Going forward, same thing. My world is right here. So this guy's suggesting that I'm in handcuffs and I'm grabbing a hold of his taser, and he's doing that for pure theater. That's all that's going on there, and it's to create a case that I was, what was the term they were using? That I'm, God, what was that term? We'll get back to it when I think about it. But I don't, because if I got somebody over here and I want to grab, if I want to grab something with that person, if I put my hand here, I can do that. If I want to go that direction, I can do that. But that's it. And that's only if I have one hand firmly gripping my wheelchair. I cannot grab anything on anybody. I'm incapable of doing that. Now you put me into handcuffs, and this guy is saying on tape that I tried to get his taser, and he's telling the doctor, he's telling everybody I went after his taser, kind of trying to build a story, and that is simply impossible for me to do. So, but that way, it's just like, when you see the footage about, cops doing bad things and doing the overkill, there was always what the guy was about to do. The guy was going for his gun. The guy was doing this. So he was trying to create a scenario where I was that guy, and I'm going for his taser. And as I've gone through all of the footage, because I own the dash cam footage and the body cam footage. So he's also in there telling the doctor of record that was checking me out, telling the doctor at record that I went for his taser, and therefore I became handcuffed. And he's on his own video doing this, and but the truth is I was handcuffed and then he says I was going after it. So this guy doesn't have his story straight. But the idea that I'm going to go after the guy's taser, it's just simply impossible.
Yeah.
You grabbed my taser, you grabbed my rounds. He grabbed my taser, he started grabbing the taser and started grabbing the rounds. We didn't do nothing, grab the taser and stuff. Grab the taser? Yeah, he grabbed my taser, started grabbing my rounds. Originally I didn't want to cite and release him because he grabbed my taser, and he grabbed this, and I'm like, an obstruction charge now.
So, yeah, being in the situation I was in, I've got a passenger in my car, and she knows my situation, and so she was not allowed to be near me, and they tried to do the best they could to keep her from seeing what was going on. They were just flat out, the two cops, intimidating her to not get anywhere near me, otherwise she was going to go to jail. That was difficult, and I must have called out to her 5 or 6 times saying, I need help. I cannot move because I'm in my handcuffs. I'm in an awkward position in my chair, so I could not get any kind of assistance because they would not let my passenger help me out at all. And that was, I must have called out to her, 5, 6 times as this thing was going on, and they kept her remote and away from me, and it was, I was just all on my own with these 2 cops, all on my own.
I'm stuck. I cannot move. Kate, I cannot move right
We're in
now.
North Zone.
Kate, give me a hand. I need help.
Sir,
Kate,
what are you trying to do?
give me a hand.
Straight here.
Kate,
I went to
need
get it,
assistance here.
and you rolled over there.
So, so this is before I'm in the handcuffs, and the Officer Todd was, he had me, because this is after they tried stuffing me into the back of the vehicle. So I was in that location, that rear door, parked right outside of it. And and this is pre-handcuffs. So he was in his vehicle getting some stuff, and, and I'm not even thinking twice about, that I was supposed to stay put. And so as he's doing that, I go up and I join my passenger and the other cop, and I just roll up to them, and I'm just talking with him. And Officer Todd doesn't realize I've done this, and because he's in his vehicle getting some stuff, so he comes out and he just kind of comes unglued that I've moved. That how dare me I've moved, and so he goes on this rant about me having moved, and so then he starts with the threats about me, God, and again I keep forgetting that term they use for I am obstructing. I am obstructing. I'm obstructing the investigation. Let's say obstructing. I think that was the word. So he says, if you keep doing that, I moved. If you keep doing that, you're going to jail. So I said, well, let's just go to jail. In this jail thing, he kept mentioning it time and time and time again. And I think that was, because the average person's going to be freaking out, about the idea of going to jail. And he just, he must have said, I'm going to jail 10, 15 times. And I've gone through the body cam tapes with a fine-tooth comb, so I know the number of times he said that kind of thing to me, to other people. And so I just said, well, then let's go to jail. Quit saying we're going to jail. If we're going to go to jail, let's go to jail. And never went to jail. So this guy, again, his game plan, what he was going to do, he was making this thing up as we went along, and it was a shit show.
Sir, at this point, if you fail to comply with my obstructions, I'm going to take you to jail for obstruction, okay? Sir, at this time, I'm taking you to jail for obstruction.
Do not worry about that other guy.
So another thing that came up in this whole tumultuous situation was as we were discussing my desire to get checked out just in case. And I emphasize that a million times. I don't know if anything's happened, but I got to be prudent just in case. Maybe, I don't know. But so then the cop, Officer Todd, he brings up insurance. And he's saying, well, I don't know how insurance works because we're going to go in the hospital now. And I said, heads up, stop. I said, this is going to be on your nickel. My insurance is not going to be used because you guys may have hurt me. So my insurance is out of the question, and I was clear on that one. We're not using my insurance for this. I said, this is on your nickel. So as I examine the body cam tapes, that is clearly in there where I tell the guy, you do not use my insurance for this. So then later on, as things are winding down and I'm going to be released, again, everything's on his body cam footage, but I'm not there, but I get to see this on this footage that I now own. And so one of the guys at the hospital is approaching him saying, so are we going to bill Blaine County for this? So right then and there, he starts playing dumb, like, nah, I'm not sure, I don't think so, not Blaine County. So as a result of what that guy did, I ended up receiving a bill for like $510 for an emergency room bill because I'm being checked out because they may have harmed me. Well, they harmed me. And I get a bill, and what it was my insurance got billed for a part, I got billed for a part, but it totaled $510. And I'm letting these guys know they owe me $510 outside of other things that's going to be happening because I'm going to be taking legal action against these guys for having hurt me. And in their position, because I've reported this cop, and their position is, hey, we're looking after our boy, and you got what you deserved, and it's pretty doggone arrogant. So I will also be taking legal action against these guys because they hurt me, and I don't think this Officer Todd was authorized that night when he went out in his car to go hurt somebody. But this guy, shifty, crafty, I get this $510 bill, and then I'm doing like a month of bed rest, and I'm doing wound care clinic stuff, so part of the shit show. So as I'm combing through the body cam footage, I see a lot of things that I didn't even know took place that night because it's happening away from me. So in one part of the tape, the cop is actually telling the doctor that nobody ever put a hand on me. It's just a lie. He's telling the doctor nobody ever touched me. Well, on the video cam, the footage, I got two guys wrestling me, trying to get me into the cop car. And then there was a lot of stuff that he repeated over and over again in this body cam footage where he keeps telling people there's no way we could hurt him. He's just making this stuff up. It's impossible. We barely touched him. We didn't do anything. So that's a deal that replays over and over and over in his tape where he's salting that tape with the fact that if I got hurt, these guys can't possibly have any connection to that in any way, shape, or form. And I think that guy figured out that night that I might be the guy that comes back and is sticky. So it certainly seems like he was working that tape because he wears a body cam tape when he does this kind of stuff. He's working that tape and he's planting information in there that is lies, untrue. He was setting me up, and again, part of the shit show.
And we didn't handle you at all, okay? There has been no manhandling. It's a unique situation because we never really touched this guy. So we're not taking him to jail. So he's like, I want to get checked out. I want to get checked out. Yeah, I want to go get checked out. I want them to look at me and do whatever, tests they do to make sure that I didn't get hurt. And I'm like, there's no way you could have gotten hurt in this. Well, there's no difference between this or any other day. You're just being difficult.
So on this business where Officer Todd is trying to create this story that I went after his taser, which is not possible. We've discussed that. It's just not, it can't happen. So in addition to that, as I'm going through all the layers of his body cam footage, so I see him talking to people, and he keeps telling people I went after his taser. He's talking to the administration intake woman. He went after my taser. He's talking to the doctor. He went after my taser. And, you know, and in that particular footage, the doctor says, he responds and says, he went after your taser? Like, you know, like, yeah, the taser thing. My passenger that was with me that night, he went after my taser. He's telling me I went after his taser. He's telling the paramedics. So he's salting this thing, and he's telling everybody that I went after his taser. Well, guess what? He's trying to paint the picture of a wild man, you know, that deserves to be handcuffed, blah, blah, blah. And, but yeah, the taser thing, he was planting those seeds. The taser, the taser, the taser. It goes on repeatedly in his body cam footage. Everybody needed to know Mike went after the taser. So what I'm going to read here is from the St. Luke's Wound Care Center, and so it helps people understand what happened to me that night as far as getting injured. So it says, to whom it may concern, I've been treating Mr. Vowels for a stage 2 pressure injury of his left ischial tuberosity, my butt cheek. He feels that he sustained the injury on approximately 7/23/2020 after being forced to spend an extended amount of time confined to his chair in a static position. He reports that he may have also been placed on one of the side guards of his chair during this time. I initially saw him for this on 8/10/2020 and saw him again today, 9/3/2020. Over the previous weeks and 4 office visits, he has made progress towards healing. Pressure injuries are caused by sustained pressure, usually over a bony prominence that interrupts the blood supply to the affected area of skin. This starves the skin of oxygen, causing breakdown and leading to ulcer formation. Mr. Vowels is at increased risk for pressure injury due to his spinal cord injury. He is unable, hang on a sec here, spinal cord injury. Typically, he relieves the pressure through frequent repositioning in his wheelchair. If he is unable to reposition or sits on a hard surface for any amount of time, he has an even further increase in risk for pressure injury. That's the end of the letter from the Wound Care Center. But yeah, these guys, Officer Todd, he created that perfect storm where he put me into a position, despite my warnings to him, repeated warnings, he put me in a position that allowed this to take place right before his very eyes, without him knowing, without me knowing. I had a pressure injury that was developing, and it was cooking during this time period that I was in his custody.